So today's film, we're going to be doing Strange Darling. So I know this film came out, I believe it's been a couple weeks now. So I'm probably going to do a Beetlejuice review because I just saw that. But I wanted to get this Strange Darling review out of the way because it was recommended by a few people, and I keep seeing it all over online getting praise. So I just wanted to give my thoughts on the film in 3 to 5 minutes. You know how it works, and then I'll give a rating at the end. So I'm going to break this down into two categories, just give some pros, some cons, and just kind of go over some thoughts. This could be spoiler free, so don't worry about any spoilers, because this is definitely a film you want to see without knowing anything going into it. I went into this film, I don't even think I saw the trailer or anything for it, so kind of went into it blind, so these are my thoughts. So my first pro, and obviously this should be a given for most people, is the performance from Kyle Gallner and Willa Fitzgerald. Sorry if I butchered the names, but their chemistry on screen from start to finish, excellent. Whoever was the writer of this film, I didn't look into too much who was like the production, the cast, or anything, but whoever wrote this film, fantastic. The dialogue is very realistic. It's very uh, keeps you entertained the whole time. You kind of listen to what they say, which is good for a film because sometimes you kind of lose track if it's something like boring or uninteresting. But their dialogue, um, very humanly mannered, and I thought their on-screen performance was very in touch. Kind of keeps you entertained the whole time. So that was my first pro I have. So my second is the opening sequence is obviously the chase. You have Kyle Gardner and Willa Fitzgerald. Kyle Gardner's chasing in a car, and you don't know what's going on. And from the trailers and everything, you figure Kyle Gardner's like the villain, but then you get some sequences here and there that you have Willa Fitzgerald is the villain or the antagonist, and it kind of flip flops back and forth, which really keeps this film up on edge the whole time because you don't know who really is the protagonist, who's the antagonist, and keeps you guessing the whole time. And this opening sequence did a great job portraying that right from the beginning. So my third pro is obviously the cinematography. Amazing. It's kind of got that neon vibe, which I really like. Very 80s. Um, I think the neon touch, it's got blue, it's got red. I think that gives it a really good touch. It makes the film look very like cinematic, very 80s, which kind of got like an 80s vibe from this. But I guess it takes place in, I guess it's modern time, so they didn't really give a specific date when this film takes place, but I believe it's modern time. But for a while, I thought it took place in like the 80s or 90s, just based off like the lighting and everything. And obviously, Kyle Gallner kind of wearing like an 80s fit, which I love his fit, the flannel and everything. Um, but yeah, and then obviously the practical effects again, without giving any spoilers, but obviously this is a R-rated thriller suspense film. You could even say horror if you want. Um, but the practical effects for like kills and everything, really well done. No CGI obviously involved. I don't even think the chasing involved CGI. So those are some of my pros for the film. And here's some cons for it. And I know this is gonna be a hot take for a lot because this is like one of the praises that the film has gotten. But for me, it was the plot twist. I don't know what it was, but I kind of like sensed it early on, and I was kind of just like waiting for it, and it kind of felt like it was dragging on and dragging on. And I know this is like one of the points of the film where people love the plot twist, but it was just, for me, it was very predictable, and I don't know why. I can't explain why, but I just had a feeling like it was gonna be that. And when it finally happened, I was like, oh well, you just wasted all this time kind of leading up to it. And I was talking about this earlier with some other people, but the out of order chapter title cards, which you'll understand if you see the film, was kind of a con for me because it was very confusing to really follow along with the film. Because I felt like, if you look away for a second, you're going to be confused about something. And I think someone made a good point that you could really do this film either in chapter order or out of order, it really wouldn't make a difference. But I think this film, and this is just my opinion only, but I think this film would do better if it was in chapter order. And again, you'll understand if you see the film. I understand they try to do that for the plot twist, and it does help with the plot twist, but it also kind of gives you two different films, if that makes sense. So the film that we got was obviously like a plot twist type of film with out of order chapter title cards. And I guess it was the director's decision to do that, and it was a smart decision on his part. But for me, it was just I think I would have enjoyed this film if it was more like a cat and mouse chase, suspense thriller, kind of like Hush, where you know right off the bat who the protagonist, who the antagonist is, what's going on. But this film also kind of makes everyone look like an antagonist in a way, which I didn't really like. There wasn't any likable characters in this. I really felt like even the hillbillies were like a little strange, which also brings me to the pacing of the film. I thought it was very slow paced, which also comes into play the out of order chapter title cards, which I understand again it's for the plot twist, but the pacing was just a little slow for me. It wasn't as much of a thriller as I would like it to be. Again, maybe my expectations were more of like a Hush type of film. But obviously that wasn't the director's choice to go in that direction, which I respect. I respect filmmaking, so I'm all for new ideas in general. But overall, I had some issues with this film, and for me, it was just very unmemorable. Like, I felt like I forgot everything that happened, like, as soon as it ended, and it was just like my brain was all over the place. Um, so in general, I'm gonna give this film this is gonna be a hot take, but 6.5 skulls out of 10. Um, for me, it just wasn't. It didn't hit the same with the plot twist and the pacing, the title cards. Which don't get me wrong, it does not. That does not outweigh the performance, the cinematography, the practical effects, the writing. All that was excellent in this film, and I highly recommend you check out this film because I know a lot of people love it. I know it's getting raved reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, and everything. So yeah, just let me know what you think below on Strange Darling, and stay tuned for the Beetlejuice review and this weekend for the Slashcast returning. Comment below what you think.